What's up, heroes? I'm the House Ninja, superhero DJ and music producer, and also the host of the Producer Life podcast. Today, I'm going to introduce Raidenrok, an Atlanta-based DJ and bass producer who is also the originator of the Bass Battleground competition, which starts this Sunday. And he's agreed to join us and tell us a little bit about the competition. Raidenrok.
The competition is a streaming-based competition where DJs will go head-to-head for hour sets to determine who the better DJ is, whether that's showmanship, song selection, and just your overall vibe.
Okay, and so you're going to look at a lot of different factors. Are there judges, or how does this competition evaluated?
We felt it was best to have fans vote. That way we can, eliminate anyone having any bias. I mean, if you bring more fans to the stream, that's to your benefit. But ultimately, you're going head to head with someone else. So other people may be impressed by the other person. So we thought fan voting would be the easiest way to have a balance to that. And throughout each stream, we will be sharing voting links in the chat. And then at the conclusion of the stream every other Sunday, voting will be open 24 hours thereafter. And if you miss the stream, they will be recorded and posted to Twitch. So you can still go and view them if you missed it.
Okay, that's fantastic. And is there a particular type of music or DJ that the people should expect to see, or who have you got on the roster?
I mean, all different kinds of genres of EDM, really. Like I do wonky dubstep. We got other people doing deep dub. We got a few D&B artists. We got a couple rhythm artists, and a couple people that do a little bit of everything. So you can expect any and every electronic genre to be shown here.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of fun, and I can't wait for the first one to kick off this Sunday at what time?
3 p.m. Eastern on Emerald Summer's Twitch channel.
Emerald Summer's Twitch channel. All right, awesome. And I guess one of the things I'm curious about, this is a pretty unique competition. How did you come up with the idea for this?
So at the beginning of the year, I was getting booked for a lot of solo sets, and I hadn't done an official B2B with anyone. Sure, I had a couple people over, and, we would mess around on the decks, just, having fun. But I wanted something more for myself, and B2Bs are a way to challenge yourself to blend your style with the other person. And with Emerald Summers, they started doing versus battles between artists, such as Knarf going up against Frisbee, or T Spackle going up against Knarf, and Alanya thrown in there. The versus idea kind of stuck in my head, and I'd always been a big fan of 8 Mile, and that last battle scene between B-Rabbit and Papa Doc is probably one of the most iconic scenes for me, just because every time I watch it, I get goosebumps and I get zoned into that, and I've seen it a million times. And I wanted to somehow replicate that, but with the electronic dance music genres. And so originally, I wanted it all to be in person and have the crowd vote, having the crowd in 8 Mile just cheer for whoever won. And ultimately, that was going to be too tall of a task, at least right now, for this first time doing it. So Dirty Lux and other people, Emerald Summers, proposed that we put it on Twitch and stream everything leading up to the championship round, which will be held in person live, and we'll have the audience cheer for artist A or artist B. And I wanted it to be a way for people to showcase their diversity as well, because with each advancing round, you cannot play any of the same songs unless it's a different edit or remix. And being around Emerald Summers and getting booked a lot, I noticed, including myself, there were a lot of recycled songs. And yes, I'm rooting for my peers, I'm rooting for my friends, and they are ultimately entertaining the audience, which all of that's great. But me being a fellow artist, not that I got bored, but I wanted to see something different, just being around the same people all the time. And you've heard stories about Subtronics, for example, like on his tours, like there's people that go city to city following him around, and they say his sets city to city are different. And even regions of this country, like there are certain subgenres that are more popular than others, and you have to cater to that. But going around Atlanta and seeing the same people play the same vibes, it does get kind of redundant and monotonous. So that was a challenge to myself and to everyone else in this competition to keep pushing themselves to see what they can really, crank out and break through a wall. And ultimately, it's going to make you a better DJ.
Yeah, and also challenge everybody's streaming abilities, because I know not everybody that's on this. Some of the people that are in the competition have hundreds of Twitch followers and have been doing this for a long time, and others are kind of new to it. So it's going to challenge them technically too. I expect we're going to see some interesting setups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and part of the fan voting is the vibe. So whether you're in your room or your office or wherever you choose to cast from, like you have to set that up. You have to show these people who don't know who you are what you're about. And so it allows you to be more creative than just saying like, oh, I got a new song out next week. I got a new mix out. Oh, I got a show coming up at whatever venue. This is all your own curated stuff. And all of our favorite artists, the best events are the curated ones. It's not all the tour stuff. It's like, oh, this once a year annual thing. And you as an artist in this competition have the ability to just, and the creative freedom to set all that up. And I think that's ultimately where this EDM community is going, is we're tired of the same club BS. We want unique events, which is why Def is just blowing up right now with their vibes. It's going back to the underground with simplicity instead of all the big flashy screens and yada, yada, yada. Like, oh, eye candy. Like, no, we're here for the music and for the people. And that's what this is about.
Okay, that's awesome. What you tossed out a couple of terms, and I don't want to assume that everybody that's listening to this knows the difference. You talked about B2B verse and a versus battle. What's the distinction between the two of those?
So a B2B is you and another DJ just, playing a couple songs and taking turns, like passing the decks and whatever. Versus it's more centered and focused on what songs you play to get the crowd moving. Like it is at the same time a collaborative effort like a B2B would be. But a versus is like, all right, like who has the better swagger? Like who is coming out here with these tunes? Like, throttling the BPM up and down, like throwing these curveballs. Like as a DJ, like you have to be able to acclimate to that. You have to be able to adapt. And that's anywhere from that, or sometimes your cue points don't load. Sometimes you get to a venue and something on those decks is messed up and you have to improvise. It's going to make you better. It's frustrating, but you need to break through those walls.
Yeah. So versus is much more confrontational and competitive, where back-to-back is more cooperative.
Right. Yeah. And the versus part of it is that 8 Mile aura. Like you're head to head. Like, yeah, you both can rap, you both can DJ. Like, who's better? And competition breeds improvement. And we're not out here to like brag about like who's better at this or that. Like, no, we're here to improve ourselves as artists.
Okay. Talking about improving, I understand this is kind of a major challenge coordinating this, because you've got 16 different DJs, you've got support staff, you've got an event venue you need to coordinate at the end, you've got the technical pieces of the Twitch streaming, you've got to get everybody's artist profiles and all this stuff together. Talk to me a little bit about sort of some of the back end challenges and what it's been like coordinating this. What have you learned so far?
I learned that a lot of people are busy, including myself, and I'm glad I'm able to take this time between film jobs to help facilitate and coordinate a lot of this. And even getting booked at venues, like sometimes it's a hassle for them to pump out a flyer with your name on it. And I'm finding like some of the stuff I'm doing is better than how some of these venues and promoters handle themselves and their artists. It's kind of insane that there's this lackadaisical effort on their part to book the event. And so I've been busting my ass to go through and make sure all my I's are dotted, all my T's are crossed. And there's stuff that I'm glad I can delegate to other people who have more knowledge in certain areas than I do. Like, I don't know anything about Twitch really. Like, I know the basics. People know how to do that. People know how to do the flyers. People have time to do the flyers. Like, it definitely is a collaborative effort, and I'm glad that people are helping out with that to help this dream come to fruition.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see how this all comes together in 6 months. And so the schedule is every other Sunday, correct?
Correct. Every other Sunday starting this Sunday, June 12th. And it's going to be a range of times. Just like we had to have a window of 3 to 9 p.m. Eastern to help accommodate us in Atlanta, for example, or people on Pacific time. And we have a person that's participating from Canada. Like we needed to have a window that's available for everyone. And Sunday was the easiest day where most people have it off. And that was just the easiest way to do it.
Raidenrok, I really appreciate your time today and introducing everybody to the bass battleground. And I'm looking forward to having you back on the show at some point before your actual set, where you can go into a little more detail about your process and your DJing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
You too.